You are now listening to The Garden of Thought.
The Garden of Thought.
They talk about the possibility of life outside of our solar system.
About mythology.
Unexplained edges of reality.
And the Gospel of Thomas is hosted by Mr. Thomas and
Jeff Lippman.
Special guest this week is El Jefe, Luis Fernandez. Follow Luis on Instagram at Luis_Fernandez Gil.
Good day, everyone, and good evening. Welcome into GOT or GOD presents the Book of Black or the Gospel of Thomas, whichever way, whichever show, you're in the right place. And we have a really exciting show today. We have a unique opportunity, truly a gift from the gods. We have with us, yes, you know him from Curb Your Enthusiasm. You know him from Mayans. You know him from It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia. I, of course, know him from Santa Claus versus the Taliban Time Travelers from Outer Space. You know him as Dario Cueto. You know him as Dario Cueto's father. You know, well, maybe, I'm not sure. You also know him as Cesar Duran, Lucha Underground's own, MLW's own.
Hollywood's own.
Hollywood's own, the world's own. Luis Fernandez, I hope I do this right, Hero.
Yeah, correct. Great pronunciation. That's the way to say it.
Well, welcome.
I missed the theta, the Fernandez.
I am only Latino by marriage. So
okay, you're excused.
Which is true. But my wife's one of her last name is Zuniga, and I still have not said it correctly after all these years.
Yeah, you didn't. It's Zuniga.
Zuniga, I know. It's
right. Yes.
It's not my fault. It's Daphne Zuniga's fault from Spaceballs and from whatever Melrose Place show he's on. And but we also have Mr. Thomas here. How are you, Thomas?
I'm here. I'm wonderful, per usual. I got two of my friends in the room today, and I'm very happy for this. I wanted to bring this together more than anything else. I know you wanted Luis on for a while, and I know Luis doesn't want to do podcasts, but I had to yank his arm for 3 months to get him to do it. So
I couldn't say no to Thomas.
I love
the most professional of the roster right now. I shouldn't say this, but
go ahead.
The truth has to be said.
Listen, you're El Jefe. You can say whatever you like. But I've said this before, so this is not the first time he's hearing it. But Thomas is not just the most responsible person I've met that's in wrestling or show business adjacent. He might be the most responsible person I've met, period. The only person that rivals him is me, and I'm nuts. Anyway.
I love it. Love to hear it. I stay on top of everything. And I followed up as soon as I saw him last time. He knew he did agree to do the podcast 2 shows ago, but I dropped the ball and forgot to get contact info because I was too worried about running out and getting In-N-Out Burger. So
you're a beautiful man. Just be quiet. Just relish in your grandiosity. And PJ, if you're listening, you should listen to your own show. But Thomas got us, Luis. You didn't. I've known you for almost 5 years now. Come on. All right. So listen. What is your backstory? What is your origin story?
Where do you want me to begin?
Well, you go with Dr. Evil's origin story. You said that you had to serve mandatory service where you come from. So where were you?
Yeah. I was born in Spain, and the year that I went to do the military service, it was kind of it wasn't a baby boom year for the rest of the world, but it was for Spain. So 1 out of 4 guys, back in the day, military service was mandatory. And 1 out of 4 guys were to be, by lottery, were to be exempt. So I thought, well, I'm a lucky man in life. Because I could postpone the lottery because I was going to college. But I thought, no, if I postpone, then I wouldn't enter the lottery. And I thought, okay, I'm a lucky man. I'm going to be in the lottery and I'm going to be exempt. I didn't even look at it. And all of a sudden, I got a letter from the Ministry of Defense saying that I had to, I got the letter on a Friday that I had to be on Monday at a certain place to start the whole thing. Oh. And I was like, wow, this is a mistake. So I went to the general headquarters of the army in Madrid, telling them, hey, this is a mistake because they sent me this letter and I'm for sure I'm exempted. And they said, no, you're definitely going. So that's how it happened.
Okay.
How old were you when you got this news, this crazy news in the mail?
17.
Oh my goodness.
Not even 18. Wow.
Yeah. And what happened is that because it's a lottery where you go as well, Spain has 2 cities in Morocco. They're called Ceuta and Melilla. And I had to do it in Melilla. in one of them. And back in the day, every month we had to do like a guard for 24 hours. So we would go to a tower. The whole station had 8 towers, right? Mm-hmm. So we had to go to a tower and just be there for 2 hours, watching that the whole thing is safe, nobody's there, and etc. And the base had 2 fences. One fence was like 100 yards away, and another fence was like 500 yards away. Mm-hmm. If you saw someone between the first fence and the second one, you had to tell them that was a military zone, and you had to give them a warning that you could shoot them. You had the license to shoot them. But if you saw someone between the base, the military base, and the first fence, you didn't have to give any warning because that's a war zone. Mm-hmm. So you have to just shoot to kill. So one night, I just went to the tower and I put the segment, the rifle that they use in the Spanish military, and I just put it in the corner, and I started sleeping like everybody. Everybody used to say, because I mean, what's gonna happen? So one night I started hearing like this, the voice of a girl having sex, and I thought, how's this possible? It's only guys doing the military service. How's this possible? Someone is being that crazy to bring the girlfriend into the base? So I let it go. But out of a sudden, I saw the sergeant coming with the new shift from the other side of the base. And I thought, oh man, now I have to turn on a spotlight. All the towers had a spotlight. I have to be ready for anything, because as soon as I turn on the spotlight, the sergeant is going to come running with the other soldiers, the new shift. Mm-hmm. So yeah, I turn on the spotlight looking for this couple having sex between the first fence and the second one, but I couldn't find them. And then I look backwards and I see the sergeant with a gun in hand running like crazy. And I thought, oh man, I have to do something here. So I couldn't see them. So I simply shot. The first bullet is blank. So I shot it to the air to scare them wherever they were, because I couldn't find them. When I did, they started screaming at me, screaming in Arabic, like, like they were probably telling me, what are you doing? Turn off the light, man. We do this every night. What's your problem? And when they started screaming, I moved the spotlight, and they were actually between the base and the first base, and the first fence. Uh-oh. So I had to shoot them. And it's like, man, I don't have the courage to shoot them. By then, in like 15 seconds, I hear pop, 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 the sergeant coming upstairs to the tower with the gun in hand, about to shoot them. And I went like, I grab him. It's like, no, wait, they're jumping the fence, because I saw them that they were getting ready, dressing up and jumping, or at least running to jump. So we wrestled a little bit. He broke my nose with the gun. That's why I have this big nose. By the time we finished the wrestling thing, he was about to shoot them, but they had jumped. They were already between the first fence and the second one. So he couldn't shoot them. But I spent 2 months in jail.
Because of this?
Because of rebellion, yeah.
Or heroism.
Depends how you look at it.
But yeah, I mean, I saved 2 lives that they're not even aware of it.
No clue.
This couple that have no idea how dangerous that was for them.
See, in wrestling,
they're newborn people.
To be your servants. They'd have to be like your butler and driver for a month.
I wouldn't know how to get in touch with them.
That's crazy. That is wild.
Well, maybe they're listeners. Yeah, I mean, you never know. So if you crazy lovebirds in Morocco from what, about 20 years ago or so?
Yeah, a long time ago. It was impossible to find them. Yeah.
Well, nothing's impossible in this day and age. All right. So Thomas told me the rule is I can only ask up to 5 questions about wrestling. And my response to Thomas is, I'm not sure I've got a single question about wrestling. But
I may have more than he does.
Right. But guest privileges. So if you think that my question is about wrestling, that counts. So that counts towards my 5. So you two keep track of it. So obviously, I've looked at your IMDb page. I cited the title that drew my attention and, right away and already used it. But what is the process? What happens when your agent calls you? I assume your agent calls you and says, hey, I want you to audition for a show called Lucha Underground. You're like, sounds good. What's Lucha Underground? What happens next?
Well, I went to the audition initially, and I was dressed with a white shirt, and it wasn't dark enough, I guess. But I still got it initially. And we were supposed to start the show in Mexico because we were taking advantage of the Triple Mania in Mexico City. And I was supposed to go there and buy the fighters, right, to start Lucha Underground. I had the ticket and everything. So the day before that, we were flying on a Friday, imagine. Thursday morning, they called me and they said, hey, listen, Robert Rodriguez watched the tape, the audition that you made, and he wants to see other options because he doesn't want like someone with an accent to be the villain. And I thought, okay, fine. Well, I just gave it away. I thought that I would never get this job. But then the producer, at the time, DJ, you guys know him?
Jay Hyde?
No, the writer of Lucha Underground.
One of the writers on that show.
One of the writers and the producer, Eric, they both called me up saying, hey, listen, okay, what happened? Robert Rodriguez was using the casting director that he always uses for his movies. And he was doing auditions to new people. So they called me up saying, hey, listen, go there and just do the audition. And I thought, no, I'm not going to crash an audition because you get blacklisted in Hollywood if you do that. And they said, no, they're waiting for you, but you have to be there by 1. And it was already like noon. And I live in Hollywood and I had to go to Venice, which is where the casting office was. Mm-hmm. Anyway, I was very, very tight. So when I got there, it was 1:05. They were leaving. And I showed up. It's like, hey, I understand that you guys were waiting for me. I'm like, what? What are you talking about? They had no idea. They're like, well, they told me this. And listen, I have the ticket to fly tomorrow to start the show. And eventually they called me. And so, I don't know, they probably felt like sad or whatever. So they said, okay, let's do this. And what happened is that for that audition, I dressed all black, the way Dario Cueto was. And that's when Robert Rodriguez said, okay, this is the guy.
Excellent. Yeah,
but I was very close to not getting it.
What sounds exactly like wrestling. You got bamboozled to show up and it ended up being yours. Typical. That's the first day in wrestling business, man.
Right. You show with your gear, right? With your boots. That's what all the wrestlers always say. Did you have to, was it just a role and you were like, cool, this is a TV role? Or were you like, wrestling? What's the show about wrestling? Or were you like, I don't care. It's a show. Wrestling's part of it. But, did you know what you were getting into?
Yeah, I wasn't that familiar with wrestling. I didn't know that, all these people are putting their lives on the line for our entertainment. People have no idea how dangerous this whole thing is. Like once Pentagon made up a package pile driver on me, which was never on camera because it was a rehearsal. And the agent at the time, which he was Vampiro, he said, listen, would you be up for a package pile driver? And I had a donut in my hand, like we just had breakfast. Yeah. And I thought, well, I don't know. I've never done it. Oh, you haven't done it? Okay, why don't you do it to him right there? And they were like, wait a second. I understand that this is a move. It's like a killing move, right? It's something that you do at the end of the match. Mm-hmm. Shouldn't I be warm up? He's like, no, don't worry. It's going to be gentle. Pentagon, be gentle. But Pentagon doesn't speak very good English. So when he was about to do it, I went, wait, hold on a second. What do I need to do? And Vampiro told me, just relax the whole body. So when Pentagon was about to pick me up, to lift me, he said, hey, boy, you have to hold yourself into my arms, otherwise I won't be able to lift you up. But he forgot to say that once I'm upside down, that's when you need to relax, completely relax for the impact. So I was tense for the impact and I passed out. Like I was 5 minutes gone. Wow. And when I came back, I was like, everybody was like there, like, are you not taking on me? Like, are you okay? And my whole back was traumatized. I thought, man, I won't be able to move. So we went to the hospital. They did some x-rays and stuff. They gave me some oxycontin, hydroxycontin, I think they gave me. And I was like, well, I have to go back. We have to do the show because it was the final episode of the second season. I have to do it. I have to go back. And they were like, no, there's no way to do it. But I felt great. Because they gave me 2 of them. I was almost OD on the Oxycontin. And that's how I did the last episode of the second season.
No bumps for Luis. No bumps. It's dangerous out there, man.
Super dangerous. I have so much respect for wrestlers. And even fans, I don't think they're aware of how dangerous it is and how difficult. And it's a life. So you dedicate your whole life to it. Every second.
Well, there's no way that we could. Unless you actually went to wrestling school or, did something like that. Went to your friend Max Smashmaster's fantasy wrestling camp. All right. So listen, in the world of wrestling promoters historically on TV, on camera screens, the top 3 are Mr. McMahon, Eric Bischoff, and Dario Cueto / Cesar Duran. And
wow, thank you.
And you don't even, and I'm the objective truth. So, and you weren't even familiar with wrestling. Like, where did this innate carny promoter thing come from you, where it was just so natural that I mean, I know that people wrote lines for you, but you still have to emote and feel that, no, it's not going to happen now. It's going to happen next week when the audience has to buy more tickets to this show. There's going to be a great opportunity for you in 3 weeks. I mean, how did you get the carny salesmanship? I mean, did you have like a bad 6 months where you had to sell like used furniture or something? I mean,
no. I mean, a big part is the credit should go to the writers. I mean, I think the storyline is like the one that helped the character. But just to share a secret, when I started with this character, the way I took it is like this. I made up all this story in my head. I assumed that wrestling comes from lucha greco-romana, right? Lucha libre / lucha greco-romana. And my understanding is that back in the day, if someone was like totally crazy, the Greeks thought that they were possessed. And when they found two crazy people, they made them fight naked because they believed that the death of one of the fighters would represent that the devil would go with the dead body and the surviving body would be clean. Then the Romans made a show from it. Mm-hmm. And that's how the lucha greco-romana was started. So what happens today? Everybody is losing that respect. The realization that wrestling is a matter of life or death. So Dario Cueto, as the devil, is coming here to this planet to fix it, to make the wrestlers that are making a spectacle out of something so sacred, to make them pay for it. That's the beginning, in my mind, of that's the birth of Cesar Duran. Then what the writers wrote, like I made some changes to it to just apply what my background is, which is basically being the devil. And that's basically the story.
Now, do you take that approach in every role? Are you a method actor? Or can you just show up and put yourself in there and kind of just play the part? Explain that to me from an actor's perspective. I know my role for wrestling. I just got to show up and be tall. I mean, so some of the things that you do are just more character based. And do you always draw that from a story you have to tell yourself?
Yeah. And the reason is because to me, acting is just completely selfish. I do it because the day-to-day doesn't bring so many intense emotions as the characters go through. I don't care if people see me or if I'm known or if I make a lot of money. To me, just going through that emotional trip is enough. I'm a happy man with it. So I try to, that's one thing. And the other thing for an actor, work is auditioning. Work is preparing a new role. Once you get the role, it's research and development. It's training, if you want to call it. The real work is auditioning. So any actor that doesn't enjoy auditions, he's not an actor. He's something, I don't know, something else. But really, the auditions, the real work. The auditions are your real chance to have an emotional trip that you regular day is not giving you. Look how fortunate we are if you decide to take that route. You know what I mean? I mean, you, Thomas.
Absolutely. I totally understand. That makes perfect sense to me.
God, I wish we were doing video.
I'm no actor, but my 9 to 5 has always been, my background is in sales and corporate sales. And I always try to have that same mentality where I can like separate myself and put myself I'm almost playing a character when I'm at work, because my verbiage and the way I am is just not how I normally operate in real life. I'm not always so cheery and fluffy, but I do understand that mentality 100%.
Yeah. First of all, Luis coming to us from Guadalajara, and it's a spectacular view where he's from, and his hair is perfect. And I really wish the video, because you could see the emotion and the energy and how the passion in his face, but you'll never see it because this video will automatically delete after 30 days. So sorry, folks.
And Jeff, you're the best. You're giving me so much credit.
I am the best. Don't forget that. Anyway, I have some, they're not spoilers if a show hasn't been on for 6.5 years. So I've got some questions for you. If you know the answers, maybe you don't. But were you, as Dario Cueto, supposed to be reincarnated, and were you going to kill your own father?
Okay, let's do this. If the answer is no, I will tell you.
Okay. All right. Fair enough. Okay.
So I'm not going to answer that question.
Message received.
I think I answered the question.
That's fine. I like this little game. Okay. So I think I'm the oldest one here. I'm 56. And when I was young, too young to really appreciate these things, Lorenzo Lamas burst on the scene. One of those guys for like 4 or 5 years was like a big sex symbol. Then he came back with a show called Renegade. Like one of those guys like Antonio Sabato Jr., Dean Cain. They were big stars for a few years, disappeared. He shows up in Lucha Underground as the corrupt city councilman, completely random. How was it to work with Lorenzo Lamas?
It was great. I mean, he was chasing the show for a long time, and it was great. I mean, he was very happy about it because he lives in Vegas. He actually has a helicopter. He takes people to the Grand Canyon. I don't know if you guys know this.
No,
that's his job. That's his job now. He crashed it, actually. He crashed the helicopter. But he was able to fix it, apparently. So
he's Lorenzo Lamas, of course he could.
Exactly. But he was super excited because he was like, it was a long time that he hadn't had an acting gig. And then he was telling me that he was a little bit burned with Hollywood because he hates having to explain who he is. Yeah. Like for him, like I think it was, what was the name? What was the name of this show? The one that made the big break
Falcon
for him.
Crest was the first one. And
Falcon
Renegade
Crest
was the one they did with his ex-wife.
Falcon Crest. With Falcon Crest, I mean, the guy was huge. Mm-hmm. My sister, which I respect like crazy, she's a lawyer. I've never seen my sister starstruck in her life, not even with the king. We met the king together and she was super cool telling jokes. Okay, she was visiting me when I was shooting that scene with Lorenzo Lamas. And as soon as we were getting there, Lorenzo Lamas was there in the catering. My sister was like, started walking behind me, grabbing my shirt, like a little girl, like 6 years old, saying, "Hey, Luis, that's Lorenzo Lamas." And I said, yeah, I'm having the scene with him. What? Super nervous, hysterical. So the whole time, she didn't talk at all. And then at the end of the show, when we were wrapped, I went to Lorenzo and I said, "Hey, listen, do you mind if my sister has a picture with you?" And she was like, just floored, like so excited. And anyway, to me, that was like, oh, wow, Lorenzo Lamas must have been a huge deal to see my sister like this, because I've never seen my sister so nervous with anybody.
It's true star. True star.
He absolutely was. I mean, he was like, when you had teen idols, he was a teen idol. Who was he supposed to have been working for? Because he was obviously the messenger for the higher power. Now, you were the devil, but you cast yourself as the devil to do the role. Did he secretly work for you, or was there some higher or lower power that was going to be revealed?
There was a higher power. Yeah.
Now, who's higher than Lorenzo? Antonio Sabato Jr. I mean,
he called it.
It's the only thing that makes sense. Kathy Hilton. So I don't know. All right. So listen. So Lucha Underground ends, and we're going to get back to Lucha Underground. Lucha Underground is the reason why we're talking right now, because at that point, like I had sort of aged out of wrestling. I kept my nose and I listened to podcasts, and people were talking about the show Lucha Underground. I'm like, I got to check this out. I watch, I'm like, oh my God, this is amazing. And from that, I started watching wrestling again, as opposed to just knowing who the champions were. So it's you can blame it all on Lucha Underground, but it ends in 2018. And then a few years later, somebody calls you again and says, "Hey, do you want to work for Major League Wrestling?" And what compels you to say yes to working in wrestling again?
Well, listen, I got many phone calls. I got an approach from WWE, from AEW, Impact, who was, I don't remember now, but I didn't believe him because he was sold through intermediaries, and I thought, well, this is going to be a waste of time. The reason why MLW seduced me was because that approach was being made by Conan. And together he showed me what MLW was. At the time, Conan was in the roster. And then I spoke with Court, and, we got along, and I said, let's do it. It had been a while. I was missing it. And yeah, that's the reason why I'm here. Perfect. I love it.
Came back at a perfect time.
We're so glad.
I will say, for the record, my very first pre-tape in MLW was in a bathroom in Tijuana at the arena with Cesar, myself, and Alex Kane, which is like, I had just gotten hired the month before, and fast forward, now all of a sudden I have a plane ticket. We're in Tijuana, staying at a hotel in San Diego, walking across the border, super professional wrestling. I get to the building, and on the sheet, my first thing to do is do a non-speaking promo with Cesar and Alex Kane. Amazing.
That's right.
That was my first
fully
day
remember.
on the job. That was the first day I was paid.
Wow, you did a fantastic job, man.
Excellent. What a time. What a time to be.
Sounds great. Now, this next question, I'm not trying to get into your business at all, but when you were at Lucha Underground, did you have a significant other?
During the whole time? Yeah.
Okay, that's fine. But
I mean, no one.
Okay, no, that's trust me. I'm not trying to get into your business.
It's a follow-up question here, Jeff. Sounds like you put my man on the spot.
I sort of, but so I know it's acting, but wrestling fans don't quite get that wrestling is acting. They desperately want to believe that it's real, and I think that's sort of. I think wrestling occupies its own unique space in the entertainment sphere, so it can confuse regular people too. So what I'm getting to is that you for sure got at least one lick of death while you were there. How did your significant other react to the lick of death?
Good question. Good question.
See, you were worried. You and Thomas, you were wondering where I was going with this.
Listen, they. I don't know if I should say this, but it was very helpful for the show if something would have happened in real life. I love Carly. We're great friends, super great friends. But I felt like it was a professional environment. I don't know. I didn't understand that wrestling is different. You just said it. Like wrestling really closes the gap between fiction and reality to the limit.
Sure does.
Like sometimes it's impossible to distinguish, right, what's real and what's fiction, right? So it was my ignorance. Maybe something would happen. I don't know.
Maybe.
But I wasn't available because I thought it wasn't professional. My bad. Maybe. I don't know.
We're hoping for you, kids.
Stay away from the wrestling girls. They're bad for your health. You heard it here first.
Well, she's an actress now and a filmmaker, so she's not a wrestling girl anymore. So
true, and very talented. I mean, she's great writer.
All right. Listen, Carly, you're welcome here anytime. And if you don't, I'm the one who bought a cameo from you for the Sala Monster for the Sala Monster Sounds Off. So I didn't even buy it for myself. Anyway.
You're telling on yourself again.
I just want her to know who I am, Anyway, assuming she listens. All right. I don't want to presume anything, but the mythology of Lucha Underground, some of it was just out there, but some of it was based on myths and the luchadors. I mean, I love the luchadors' names. Even like there's the Sphinx, there's a Templar, you've got the Mystic. I mean, I'm not even trying to say all of the Spanish names because I can't pronounce them correctly. But it's like, it's like from, even Pentagon, Phoenix, it's Egyptian, you have that whole world and it does come from the real luchador background. But was there anything about the mythology that resonated with you? Were you like, yeah, this is like something that like, I saw this movie or I heard this old wives' tale and my grandmother told me this, or my friends play Dungeons and Dragons and love these monsters. Was there anything about that?
Well, I think it was all Chris the Joseph, DJ. Do you guys know? That's the DJ that I was talking about, the writer. Chris the Joseph is his name. You guys don't know him?
We know everybody.
I don't know him personally, but yeah, he's been around.
Okay, so he was the original, I would say, guy coming with all these concepts. And apparently since he was at WWE, he had this in mind. And then they hired Chris Rock. It's a great writer too. It's a Hollywood writer more than a wrestling writer. And I think between the two of them, and then they hire another writer as well. I think it was Chris as well. Yeah, 3 Chris's. I think between the 3 of them, they put that on paper. And then the production designer that we had, this woman, was amazing. He was able to gather all these little objects that, impossible to find with very divine and mystical implications. That's how the thing came up. If they didn't find that production designer, I don't think it would have been that successful. Well, I don't think we would have gone so much into this magic and surreal underworlds.
How about working with your brother, Jeff Cobb, who obviously isn't your brother, the monster Montanza, which I learned later, Montanza actually means monster. So the monster.
Well, Matanza in Spanish means massacre.
Okay.
Massacre. How do you say it?
Yeah.
Massacre, yes.
You got it. Oh, so
Yeah.
it wasn't the same word twice. Okay, so that's great. Massacre's awesome. But like that was that like just a ton of fun for the both of you, where like he's supposed to be eating people and like ripping people's hearts out of their bodies.
Oh man, it was so much fun.
That's the best.
And I still love him. Like we did some Comic Cons together, and he was always like calling me to do like these mini videos that he wanted to put on Instagram. But I was like, oh no, I don't know if we should do this. Don't put it out yet. And then when the show was over, he did. And yeah, I regret having told him to not put them on Instagram, because I think they would have helped the show. But yeah, it was super fun.
Where am I on 5, Thomas?
What's that?
Where am I at 5, Thomas?
You're good. You're
Anyways,
good.
all right.
You're at 6.
So, as the person who really absorbed the role, and fantastically,
Thank you.
Did you ever want to yell at Aerostar and say, man, you can travel through time. How do you lose matches?
Well, yeah. I mean, it's funny you mentioned this with Aerostar. We were shooting on the roof of the warehouse where the Lucha Underground arena was, right? I don't know. Have you ever been, Jeff? Did you ever go?
I remember the episode about the Boyle Heights Temple. How could I forget?
Okay. So he doesn't speak any English at all. So we were there on the roof. He's like, hey, Luis, could you ask production to let me jump to the ground? And I'm like, what are you talking about? Yeah, I've done it before. Like, no, dude, in the United States, they will never let you do this. No, I could do it. I mean, I could show them that I could do it before they tape him, so they can be, safe. It's like, no, it's not going to happen, man. I don't know. To give you an idea, I don't know. I mean, imagine you would see the show. You see the arena when you see the show. You see how high that is. Well,
at least 100
imagine
100 feet. It's got to be.
Yeah, I mean, imagine jumping from the roof. He said that he's done it before.
He's nuts. We worked him one time. You're right. He does speak no English, but yeah, he will do these suicide dives where he's almost like the coffin drop, Jeff.
Right.
And he go as high as he can, as high as humanly possible. And the bigger the guys he's landing on, the higher he goes. It's insane. Because when we went over, he's like, oh yeah, just a little, poquito. Okay. And then he comes off 20 feet in the air. Insane. Dude's out of control. He would have came off the roof if they let him. He'll do it. He would have done it to it. Totally.
Of course.
Have you worked with Robert Rodriguez before or after?
No, only on this.
Yeah, keep this.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know. I just thought that maybe it wasn't such a random pain.
Before Lucha Underground, I read for the other show that he had, From Dusk Till Dawn.
Mm-hmm.
But by the time I got Lucha Underground, they were in the middle of the first season. So there was an episode where someone like me would have been ideal, and I auditioned and it went very well. But then because I got this Lucha Underground, then yeah, I couldn't do it.
Well, he should still bring you on. You could be like Clooney after he went on a diet or something.
Well, thank you. Well, I'm gonna say thank you with a question mark.
Listen, you make whatever rules you want, and that it's all good by me. But listen, I'm not that interested in these shows. I'm only interested in what I'm talking about. But I know that if I have you here, I have to ask you about two of the biggest cult successful shows of all time: Always Sunny in Philadelphia and Curb Your Enthusiasm. I mean, how do you get those roles? I mean, I imagine you read for them, et cetera. And how was it working on those sets with just legends?
Well, Curb Your Enthusiasm is super fun because the script is just one page. It's not a script, it's a treatment. So we all like improvise the scene. We do it like 5, 6, 10 times, differently every time. And then the writers are there on the set watching. And they are the ones picking up the lines that they like the most. And then at the end, we end up with a script because there's like, you're going to say this, etc. And that's how it's done. So every actor is a writer at the same time. Super fun. And I remember that there was a moment where Larry Davis was like, I'm so over this, over doing the show. But then he did another season. So, So that was Curb Your Enthusiasm. And It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia was great because it was an episode that it was shot as a POV only, the POV of Danny DeVito's character, Frank. I thought it wasn't working because POV only works for horror or thrillers.
And porno, Luis.
And porno. Yes, correct.
Not that I know. I'm just telling you what I heard.
Yeah, me neither, but I imagine that it would work. But for comedy, nobody had done it before. And I thought, wow, are you guys sure that this is going to work? But they were like, well, we're going to try. and it was great. I think it was a very funny episode.
Never fail. I want to, my question here is, tell me how it was being on the set of Punk'd. And I know you've had some good episodes. And my favorite thing is every once in a while, I'll be scrolling through TikTok and there'll be a clip of Punk'd. And I see my friend Luis in the background playing a cop or whatever was going on in whatever episode that I catch you in. How many times did you work up there with Punk'd? And I know you did a few of them.
I did 27 pranks. And it wasn't that much fun. It was very stressful for many reasons.
Everything's hush hush. You got to hide, right? You got to be.
Yeah, I mean, there were like certain parameters that were important, right? The first one was like the reveal. You got punked. That was the most important part. If we get that wrong, the whole show is, screwed. You cannot screen it. So we had to be conscious on where to place ourselves because we knew where the cameras were. But that's key moment, the reveal. The second one is comedy, right? Funny lines. The third one is coverage. Like if we don't see the reactions of the mark, then you cannot use it. And then the fourth one was like the licensing, let's say. We had to be so smooth and sweet to the mark, to make the mark sign the release. Because if we were, I said that I did 27. I did more than 27, but only 27 were on air because the other ones, people didn't want to sign for them. And some people, it was, at the time, it was the last season of the show. And everybody was very alert. Everybody wanted to be punked. Yeah. So sometimes they would know that they were getting punked and they would play along. And it was totally fake. So those pranks didn't work. So it wasn't that one thing. The other thing is like when there are two guys, right, behind Catalyst, the company that produced the show, Ashton Kutcher and Jason Goldberg. If the writers were telling you a line and you didn't think it was funny, you could just not say it. But if Ashton or Jason, they were telling you a line, you literally have to repeat it verbatim. But I mean, English is not my first language, so I wasn't that familiar with the tone of voice. So I didn't know if they were talking to me. So sometimes I wasn't repeating the line and they were like, you MF, come on, man. That is like screaming in my ear. And I said, wait, what am I doing wrong? So yeah, it was fun once was done because it was very difficult. It was very difficult to get them. For Molly Sims, we spent 5 days in a parking lot.
Rapid.
Because the whole setup was like they had to park next to a construction site, and we were putting a bunch of rubble on top of the car, a brand new car. So we tried with different marks, but they weren't parking there. Things like that. Eventually, on the fifth day, we got Molly Sims.
Nice.
That's how it worked.
I love hearing that because you're no stranger to having to do things one take. I mean, that's kind of what we have with professional wrestling. Obviously, sometimes we have pre-takes, but once you're out in front of a live crowd with a hot mic, you got to get your story across. There's really no coming back to it, especially when we're live on who knows where sometimes.
Yeah.
So with MLW, not opposed to Lucha Underground. Excellent. That's insane.
Well, it sounds
my favorite one. I think it was Tito Ortiz and Dana White. I think was the one. I'm pretty sure.
Oh, it's Chuck Liddell.
Something about Chuck Liddell. Chuck
Liddell, and the mark was
it's crazy.
Yeah, Dana White. So I told Dana White, hey, listen, what could I tell Chuck that would go super mad about it? And he said, well, whatever you tell about his mom. And then when we were accusing him of a hit and run, and I was playing a cop. So I started like talking to him and I was like, I think you come from a family of liars. Everything you're telling me, I can tell in your eyes that you're telling me lies because your mom, she's been lying to you all her life. And you could see the lip like shaking like crazy. So they were telling me, Luis, get out of there immediately because this guy's gonna punch your face. And I was like, yeah, I was ignoring that. And I was like, okay, come on, give me a reason to take you downtown, to take you to jail downtown. Come on. Are you an aggressive person? Hit me. And they were like, because I wasn't reacting, they were like, okay, they called the other cop, which was a real cop, calling me. It's like, partner, come over here. Come on, let me take care of this guy. So they took me away. But he was very close. He would have done it. I wasn't conscious.
He would have never signed the waiver if he would have hit you.
Yeah, exactly. I would have screwed the whole thing. Yeah.
Well, it sounds
Yeah,
like
but
working for Ashton and Jason was a little bit like working for Vince McMahon, yelling in your ear.
oh, yeah. No, but they're very nice and they're super funny at the same time.
Oh,
Yeah.
I'm sure. Everyone's intense. In the moment, it's their baby. I know you're not the wrestling wasn't your passion, but you missed it. You came back. Are you sort of proud when you look back at Lucha Underground, not the body of work, but on the body on where so many of the graduates have gone on to WWE, AEW. I mean, all the WrestleManias. I mean, it's like and Penta's like the new darling of the world. Cross. I mean, and of course, PJ went on to do a podcast with me. I mean, what the sky's the limit for the graduates.
No, it's crazy. Every time I see someone succeeding, it makes me super happy. I feel like a dad. I don't know why. I don't have any kids. I don't even have a girlfriend at this point. But yeah, I'm experiencing.
Are you listening, Carly? He's available.
Oh, I'm experiencing fatherhood through all these guys.
Have you seen the celluloid masterpiece on YouTube, the Iron Sheik Massacre, filmed by some of your graduates, Johnny Mundo, Taya from the Worldwide Underground, PJ Black from the World Carrying Cross, Nurse Brenda, also from Lucha, the Super Panda. I don't believe was ever on Lucha Underground, but 5, 6 are Lucha Underground graduates, and they did that wonderful movie on YouTube. Did you have the pleasure of seeing it?
Well, I saw the previous one. I saw the one that Johnny Mundo made. He wrote and it's full of action, and I think he was a private detective. Do you know what I'm talking about? I knew about this one, but they were screening it at a festival, and I was out of town. I couldn't do it. I feel like I don't want to watch it on a small screen, so I haven't watched it yet. But if you're telling me that I should, I will watch it immediately.
I'm telling you should, but not necessarily. I mean, it's campy. It's sort of like Chucky if it's the Iron Sheik and people were really stoned when they were making.
Okay, sold.
Okay, there you go. So there you go. And you can blame me. In fact, I want you to blame me because that means we're keeping in touch, which is like a minor dream come true. All right. Were you a comics kid, a pulp kid, a sci-fi kid, grindhouse kid, or was this like none of this? This was just like all like, this is the role, I'm doing it.
No, my passion was soccer. I always wanted to be a professional soccer player. I actually played for Real Madrid when I was a kid, like when I was 14. Wow. But then I left the country and I went to Italy to study. Italians are very dirty. So my knee got, bad and I had to quit. But yeah, my dream would have been being a soccer player. So I was very much into sports.
Well, good.
Man's man.
Yeah. I mean,
thank you.
How is it working with your daughter now in Selena de la Renta?
Oh man, Selena is great.
That's terrific.
She's so talented. I don't know if you guys know, but she has this, it's not a podcast. It's like a fake news kind of thing program. And she's producing a reality show about fat girls. I don't know if you know for me. I mean, she's super talented. I'm having a blast.
She's busy and just had a baby, legitimately, just graduated with honors, valedictorian of her class 4.0. An amazing person. Very nice. I'm glad she's back. I'm glad she's back.
And sold me a pair of pajama pants and LA Park overalls, coveralls, which were XL and still didn't fit my fat cell nails. So, but that's not her fault. That's mine. All right, Thomas, I feel like when I'm talking about pajamas that I bought from the Selena de la Renta store before she closed it, I'm getting extra dorky. So save me here before I embarrass myself.
No, that's it. The Punk was my biggest curiosity. He was also in my most underrated TV show ever that everyone should go watch. It's called You're the Worst. He was on season 3. I don't know exactly what episode, but that was one of my all-time favorite dating shows. If you date right now, currently in real life, the most realistic expectation of what dating is, possibly in LA, but everywhere else in the country, is You're the Worst. It's just 2 people that met randomly that just don't really like each other, but they're stuck with each other because it works and the sex is good.
It is a good show. It's a fun show. I mean, it's dark, but it's good. All right. Last question for me, and this is not a darky question. What is the role that you coveted the most that you didn't get?
Well, I mean, to me, now the auditions are like self-tapes, which is a shame for me because I really enjoyed going in person and experiencing the emotional trip, as I said before. there, not live. So if I didn't feel the audition, that's when I got mad. If I do a great audition and I went through the emotional, the emotions that the character should go at the time, I was fully conscious that I became that character in those 7 minutes. That's it.
Okay.
Mission accomplished. So to say a role that I wanted to get, I'm mad because I didn't. It would be one of those auditions that I didn't feel.
Okay, fair enough.
And I would say, oh, it's my bad, it's my fault. You can't blame anybody. It's just you. You didn't do the work.
Are we going to see you in the MCU or the DCU? Is there like a supervillain that you want to play, or a superhero that you want to play, or an evil SHIELD agent or something?
Of course.
Of course. I mean,
all the above.
I mean,
all of the above. Yes.
The world is calling for, a proper hero, villains, or anti-hero, and we know just the man to do it. So, Holly, I actually have a friend who might listen to the show. He's been on the Prime show, who's friends with Kevin Feige. I never know how to pronounce it. It's been the most important man in my life, probably, entertainment-wise, but I still can't pronounce his last name. But if you're listening, Mark, tell Kevin to talk to Luis, because, I mean, you're not going to find a better... Well, I'm going to go with villain, but, maybe
perfect villain. He's the perfect villain because he's such a sweet man in the real life. You're secret's out.
Now okay. Are there any questions that like a real host or a real podcaster or a real interviewer would or should have asked you that we did not?
The military thing was an excellent story. I don't even know if you can top that. But is there anything else interesting we need to know about you, Mr. Luis?
Well, I mean, we all have many stories in life, right? That are interesting, but it will be very self-centered to,
Well, we are talking about
to talk about something that you didn't ask. I would consider it. Yeah, I would consider it like, who cares? Why am I going to tell this story if nobody cares? So, but yeah, I mean, I have.
Do you understand that you are a cult icon?
Oh man, thank you so much.
He's very
thank you.
Wow, thank you.
You're a cult icon. There are probably corners of the world, but there is this one weird corner of the world which has a few million fans, and everybody loves you. We can't agree on what color of ropes we like in mats, but everyone loves you.
Oh man, thank you. I wasn't aware of it.
Yeah, well, you're welcome. I don't know what to say. I mean, but don't feel we're about self-centered. I mean, we are interviewing you. It is about you. The center of this show is you.
Let's do this. Let's keep it there. And if you think of other questions that you have and other curiosities that you guys want to know, we'll do it again.
You hear that?
Even better. If you want me to talk to Carly, which has been a while that we haven't spoken, I'll do that.
We're getting the band back together.
That's right.
Okay. Sounds good.
That's a win-win for everybody here, I think. I feel like I feel it in here. So heart emojis everywhere. Listen, I hope that this wasn't too dorky. Obviously, you've agreed to possibly, you might be saying it, you might mean it, to talk to me again. Obviously, you'll talk to Thomas again. Thomas is fantastic and cool as can be. Thomas, thank you for putting this together. Seriously, you always follow through with what you say you're going to do. That is a rare trait.
I'm a man of my word. Let me plug a couple things real quick. I don't have much. Check out the internet today. I just signed a brand new long-term deal with MLW, so I'll be around for a while. So Luis, as long as you're around, I'm around, and we'll always share an Uber together. You know that, and I'll always tell you who gets there. Outside of that, we'll be in Los Angeles on April 5th. It's Battle Riot. I'm not sure if I'll be accompanied by anyone, but I'll be in the Battle Riot for sure. And I'll be out there hanging and banging around that week in LA. That's all I have. I have nothing else to plug. Luis, anything to plug on your end?
Well, now that you mentioned, if people are considering coming, they better hurry up because I'm home. And that I know, I may fill the Commerce Casino.
You hear that?
Like, they're going to go very fast. And also because they're going to be very cheap. I think it's $10. So
yeah, tickets are affordable. MLWLA.com. Get your tickets while they last. If you can't catch it in person, it'll air live on the YouTube. But trust me when I say you want to be there, you'll never know what will happen. This is the first time ever the Battle Riot will be for the MLW World Heavyweight Championship, which makes me, Jeff, the number one contender.
That's
I'm not announced yet, but I'll be in there. I mean, there's only 25 people on the roster. Math says if there's 40 in the match, I'll probably be in there twice. But hey, listen, I'm not going down without a fight.
You're my odds-on favorite.
Hey, and listen, Cesar still owes the Boombaye Fight Club a little favor that we never cashed in on. This comes all the way back from my very first segment in MLW, where we're still owed a favor. I'm coming for it, brother. I might cash it in myself.
Long-term storytelling right there. Hey,
I'm waiting.
Who's more power there? Is it Cesar or Bischoff? I mean, who's the power? Who's the real power broker?
Come on.
Right.
Obviously, Cesar.
Right. You know what? I apologize. I am chagrined. All right. Do I have anything to plug? I just had Luis Fernandez Hill on the show. I'm sure I still botched the pronunciation, but my God, I'm excited about that. So I'm promoting us, yay us. If you want to follow me on the X, it's at MD, or for wrestling nonsense at Dose Evil. And the podcast, if you just got here by accident because you're a fan of Thomas's or Luis's, if you just subscribe to Garden of Doom, which might be Garden of Thought by the time you get to it, you get 3 shows. The aforesaid Garden of Doom or Garden of Thought, Garden of Views, and this show, which also has 2 names, Book of Black or Gospel of Thomas. But today is a Gospel of Thomas, and I don't know what we're going to call this, but it's probably going to be something like a unique opportunity. So again, I can't thank you enough. I mean, really a true pleasure. You're a gentleman. You didn't have to do this, and I am very thankful.
Anytime, Jeff.
Anytime.
I loved it.
All right. Well, thank you. Hope you had fun. And everyone, thanks. If this doesn't make you want to subscribe and be a true believer of this temple, I don't know what will, but subscribe anyway.
More episodes of the Garden of Thought on the Wrestling Soup Network.
Follow Jeff Lippman on X at Dose Evil.
And make sure to follow Mr. Thomas on X and Instagram at Mocha Traps.